Well, this is family, so I'm Margrethe to you. And this is indeed family. Thank you very, very much. Once again, we're together here. And the thing is that the more digital we get, the more important it is to come together, to take the trouble, to travel, to check in, to sleep in a foreign bed, just to be together, to meet. Because it's a completely different thing to agree and to disagree with someone that you can look in the eye. And that we should cherish, not just for our congresses, but as a living part, as who we are and what we do as political parties. Because if we don't reach out as humans, what we put at stake is humanity. It is good. We can celebrate now 40 years of congresses, take stock and plan for the future. And we do have a lot to celebrate. In the election in May, more than 50% of voters voted, the biggest number for 25 years. They came out in bigger numbers in member state after member state after member state after member state. This is putting trust in having a European democracy. This is the trust that we should return in engaging with voters. In Danish, the word for vote is the same as the word for voice. The two things go together. Because one thing is that you vote at election time. But it's just important in a democracy that you use your voice between elections to speak, to interact, to discuss, in particular with the people that we disagree with. And that is a thing that we know very well. You know, in the parliament, which is not maybe at its most harmonic phases ever, they say about us in the Renew Liberal family, well, why don't you just disagree with one another? I'd say, well, part of the Liberal DNA is disagreeing. Part of the Liberal DNA is that you think for yourself, that you're not to be told what you do. I am not in any way to give advice to Cholos, or to the bureau, or to the leaders, or to the members of the Renew group. Just a word of welcome for new family members to a world of independent thinking, of discussing, and then agreeing and acting as a group. Not because you have to, but because you want to after having discussed your independent thinking. But we are at crossroads. The free press is being attacked, undermined. Journalists are being murdered. Rule of law is being undermined. It's still so, I think, in every country that you'd find people who do not feel like citizens, that they are not being counted in, that they do not feel that their voice and their vote is as important as the next human being. And we are at risk right now because since we want to embrace new technology, we should also realize that some will use new technology to cement existing inequality. Just let artificial intelligence do the hiring. Then you'll hire men forever. Just let artificial intelligence sort out who should have treatment and who should not have treatment. Well, the rich will get it. Just let AI sort out who should have an insurance and who should not have an insurance. Well, those who live in a somewhat diverse neighborhood, they will not get their insurance. So this is now this is now we really have to stand up for a society where people feel counted in for real. And with all those threats, Europe is still the best place to live on Earth ever, especially if you're a woman. And we are part of that achievement. We're an integrated part of that achievement because this wonderful Europe is built on our liberal values. So let's push that further by showing to our voters that we're worthy of the trust that they put to us. To be relevant, not just in what we say, but indeed in what we do. Because we put values in everything we do. This is how you see the values. I've never met a voter with a treaty under his arm who could by heart quote to me Article 2. I've never met a voter who say, oh, that was a great festive speech you gave. Now I trust in you. No. I meet people who say, well, we really like that we are part of investing in renewable energy, because we also have our own windmills. I meet people who say, well, we really like that we can digitalize in a way that we can also opt out if we really don't know how to deal with it. Not because we won't, but because it is kind of strange. I mean, people say, well, actually, I believe in you when you say that democracy should be open, because you do invite people you disagree with, not because you want to use them to make contrast to your own sacred points of view, but because you want to learn. And if you want to learn, then you also want to change. And last but not least, when you show us that paying taxes is not just for many companies, it's for every company. And this is why this Congress is so important. Because this is a Congress where we can take the important decision to say, we have discussed, we have made decisions, now we put into action. Just a simple thing as keeping your phone for just another year. People with deep insights of this, they say that if we prolong the life of washing machines, notebooks, vacuum cleaners, and smartphones just by 1 year, we will save the equivalent of taking 2 million cars off the road. Just by 1 year. You don't need new legislation. You don't need to fight for finding a majority. You just need to act with common sense and enable change. And in doing that, then we can make the decision this year in this Congress that the 20s of this millennium, the 20s of this century, the 20s, they should be the roaring 20s, when we take action, when we make a society that is fit for health, convenient transportation, with gender equality, a society where everyone is counted in. That's a liberal society for you. Thank you.